Halloween is right around the corner, and considering it's one of my favorite holidays, I decided to invite my audience to share their scariest stories for me to draw. It went a little something like this. We have 3 factors we're gonna rank these on. How scary are they? How silly are they? Would you survive a horror movie? Like, if you were a final girl, would you survive? And I think we're gonna do this out of 5.
One time when I was around 12, I was walking to the nearby bus stop and saw a messed up Pokemon card on the ground and picked it up, and it was Mr. Mime, and it radiated such bad energy that I knew if I got rid of it, I would be cursed, and proceeded to keep it in my wallet for the next 10 years. When I finally felt safe to get rid of it, things started to get better for me in life, so maybe I was actually cursed by that card the entire time.
I kind of love that, but also my very first thought is you absolutely would not survive the fucking horror movie. You literally kept a cursed object, bro. You're like, oh god, they can't let them get my amulet. Hold on, I think that it would be funnier if it was like haggard looking.
Like the Mr. Mime or like the card itself?
Both. He's picking his nose. He's telling you to be quiet or else you will have to be taken out. No witnesses. Okay, scariness level. Are we scared of the Mr. Mime?
The fact that their life got better afterwards,
It is
yes.
a little scary. Like, I will give them, I would say this is like a 2 out of 5 scary. Admittedly, you keeping it makes this very funny, so I'm putting it as a 4 of 5 funny, but you are getting 0 out of 5 on the survivability scale.
You kept the evil amulet that you picked up outside the haunted house.
Literally first friend to get possessed in a friend group type beat. Like, this is the, no guys, I promise the little girl who speaks in a demonic voice and starts levitating with red eyes is actually just misunderstood. And
She's actually my friend.
She just really needs to borrow my body to like go and experience the world for a bit. I promise. She said she would give it back, guys. So I don't think you're surviving. However, I do really love this story.
One time, I was sick as a dog and alone in the house, and I kept hearing the sound of a door shutting, but I was alone. So I was scared and went to open my door, and it was just my cat doing parkour flips onto my door because he wanted inside. I knew it was him because I opened up the door. He was in the middle of flipping and landed on me and then clawed up my legs trying to run inside my room.
Poor guy. I feel like cats are like, you just let an animal live in your house, but at the same time, it's one of the scariest animals to let live in your house because they will just be doing the most insane shit ever. And you can't even be mad because they're like that. You chose this life. Dogs, I feel like, just get kind of stupid, but cats will start acting possessed on a random Tuesday evening, and then they'll just be like, no, that's just how they are. Okay, you tell me a Labradoodle did anything, and I'd be like, I believe it.
Yeah, they got people eyes.
They could shoot, they could stand up, pick up a gun, and shoot a man, and I would just be like, yeah, they're a Labradoodle. What did you expect?
You gotta draw a cat doing cat flips.
Oh, I will. All right.
Where's the back flip?
Hold on.
Where's the back flip?
Draw me my back flip. So spookiness level, not that high for me. I would say like a 1 out of 5.
The sound of a door repeatedly like being shut and you're alone?
I think if I knew I had a pet, it wouldn't scare me.
Why did you give it lips? Why does it have lips? I don't like it.
This is what Labradoodles look like to me. I don't think it's very scary. I think it's like a 1 out of 5, but you can challenge that.
I bumped that up to 2 out of 5 because if I was sick and a little bit out of it and just heard a repeating knocking sound and didn't know where it was coming from.
Funny factor, solid 3 out of 5. A good cat story is always a good story to me. Mm-hmm. Would you survive the harm? I mean,
I think so.
They did go to
cautiously,
check the noise.
Yeah, cautiously went to check.
So they would investigate. They wouldn't just like stay in place. So I would say this is again a solid like 3 out of 5 survivability. I think
you need final girlness.
You need final girlness. I think that like also them being sick. Well, if we think about it, a lot of final girls actually do have some kind of ailment, like they're sick or like they're out in the middle of nowhere.
They've got some sort of status effect.
So I would say you have like a solid chance of surviving the ordeal. Like you may survive.
One time when I was like 5 years old, I visited Alcatraz prison with my dad and my brother.
Wait, pause! Why the fuck are they taking your ass to Alcatraz as a 5-year-old?
And we were the only ones in the tour group, so we kind of got free reign of the prison. With supervision from said tour guide, we got to go inside the famous cell that those prisoners dug a hole through and escaped out of. And my older brother, being the kind and loving man that he is, locked me inside the cell when my dad and the tour guide walked away. Parentheses, he didn't actually lock me in, I was just too weak to open the door, as you would because you were 5.
You're 5!
So obviously he runs away giggling, and I'm freaking out and panicking and looking around for a key or something, and I turn to look at the hole the prisoners escaped through, and I kid you not, I swear on my life, there was a face in the hole smiling back at me.
No! Fuck no! That's scary!
I blinked and it was gone, but I was so scared I stayed frozen until my dad dad realized I was missing and picked me up and told my brother off. IDK what that face could have possibly been, but I swear to this day I saw it in that hole.
I have context for the ending. Apparently they put fake mannequins in the hole. That's actually so fucking funny.
Wait, so there was actually a
There was actually
That's
a
even more
face.
fucked up.
That's one of the reasons I think that this one is actually legitimately scary. Even though there's like an explanation for it, I think that like the fact that it was actually there and it wasn't just your imagination makes it even scarier. Because what do you mean? They brought a 5-year-old to fucking Alcatraz. Hold on. It needs to be darker. It needs to be like barely visible. It's beautiful. It looks like the hot chocolatey spider. What? The hot chocolatey milk spider? Wow, yeah, this is really awful, actually. I think this might be one of the worst things that I've ever drawn. My very first statistics that I have to rate, you would survive. Actually, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. Most horror movie directors, and this is like such an unspoken like truth, most directors don't kill kids. And I don't know if you've noticed this when you watch horror movies, but the reason that It was actually kind of terrifying when it came out at the time, thing is in It, kids did die. Like the whole thing was that Pennywise did eat children, and like specifically preferred to eat children because their fear was more poignant. I'm gonna say like 3 out of 5. I think that this is kind of, I can't say 5 out of 5 funny because this is probably horrifying. My siblings and I have like a Tom and Jerry relationship. Like the most evil thing that I ever did was I collected porcelain clown dolls, and I would hide them around the house in really like kind of eerie areas. So like I put the one facing towards, you know, the attics where they have like the ladder that goes up to the attic, and so you have to climb up it, and it's like inside a closet too, so it's not even like a full entryway. It's like a ladder inside a closet in the hallway, and then when you go up into the attic, your head goes up first. I put a little clown doll just sitting and staring at the entrance to the attic. And also the attic's dark, there are no lights. The only light you have is a flashlight, so you would be seeing just this illuminated little clown with the flashlight. I did this to my dad, who's scared of clowns. I did hear him scream across the house, and then he walked into the room smiling, and like the really like, I'm pissed off, but you haven't actually done anything completely horribly wrong smiling, but like I will make you pay for this, holding up the clown by its hat. And it looked like this because I was in my little sister's room at the time, and her room was all bright pink. So he's standing in the entrance of this glowing pink room with this fuck-ass little clown in a baseball cap, and the guy looks like he just shat himself. I would say this is scary.
If you're not gonna rate it a 5 out of 5, it would be at least a 4.
This is a 5 out of 5 scary.
Okay.
I think if this happened to me as a little kid, I would have peed. Like, I actually would have just wet myself in in Alcatraz. And then you're on a tour, so what are you gonna do? You're just walking around all day. I think that this one is probably one of the scariest. I think it's scarier knowing the face was real. Mm-hmm. Even if it's not like a ghost, I think knowing that you are actually seeing a face is what makes this so awful.
I used to work in the art studio of my college, which was in the basement of the Arts Center. The whole place was a tornado shelter from the 50s, repurposed into various studios and computer labs for art and music students. The studio was huge with windows all along one wall that showed the path to the main floor of the arts building above it. Okay, wait, but if it's a tornado shelter,
Why is there windows? I was just thinking that.
Okay, but moving on anyways. Okay. That's kind of weird. My shifts were always night shifts, so you can imagine it got pretty creepy in there with those big windows leading to nothing but darkness. The studio itself was full of creepy looking art projects, half-finished paintings, and real human skeletons. People rarely came in when I worked, and people were rarely down in the basement period, so it was almost always silent, except when the occasional music student would come down to practice. When I'd work, I'd always head to the vending machines in a little connecting hallway to get a Dr. Pepper and a Snickers bar to keep my blood sugar up. One Wednesday night, I went to get my usual and peeked my head out of the studio so I wouldn't get jump scared just in case anybody happened to be walking around. All the way at the end of the hallway was a classroom whose door was usually closed and locked, but tonight the door was slightly ajar and the classroom was completely dark inside. I swear to God, I saw a tall figure that looked like it was made of darkness itself quickly duck into the classroom right as I looked at it. Needless to say, I was sufficiently freaked out, but eventually stilled my nerves to get my snack. Nothing else happened after that, but my job was made obsolete soon after, and they made it so our IDs wouldn't unlock any of the doors after a certain hour of the night. I'd like to think the two are connected. It makes life a little more interesting to have a mystery like that.
That is actually genuinely pretty scary. I wonder if the building was like haunted or something.
If it was built in the 50s and it used to be a tornado shelter?
Yeah.
Like, that's a old building.
Hold on, I'm gonna give you like a little night guard cap. I don't actually know. You might just have been a teacher, but teachers can wear baseball caps too. The scariest part is losing your job. Actually, yeah, the scariest part is your job being made obsolete. I want to get like the glow from the vending machine because I feel like that makes part of this story. Embrace the darkness, have a Snickers. The darkness is what I start seeing when I haven't had something to eat for long enough. Okay, wait, I'm gonna have the doors like lined up the hallway because I think that makes this immersive. Whoa, look at the perspective. Look at the line of action. Look at the, I don't fucking know. Is this person surviving? Like, that's the thing I want to know most here.
They probably could have because key cards, right?
Mhm.
So they could have like locked themselves.
Yeah, but clearly whatever that thing is also has a key card or can get into the rooms because they close the room. Well, also what depends here is, you know, a night guard or a teacher is always dying. Like some employee always dies in a horror movie.
Oh, then I guess no.
I think they may die. They didn't even do anything wrong. Their cardinal sin in the movie was being employed. So unfortunately, I do think he would die. I know you didn't in this instance, but had this been a horror movie, I don't think he would be surviving. I don't know how funny this one is. This one, it's like 1.
I was gonna say it's not very
Or
funny
zero,
because
zero.
I would have screamed.
Oh, I'll keep it at a 0 then because I don't think there's any hee-hees here. This is just regular scary. I would say
I would not go back to work.
Yeah.
Like if I saw that shit, I would have quit.
Okay, anyway, spookiness, I'm saying 4 out of 5. Well, you know, 3 out of 5. It could have just been like a trick of your eye. And you would always doubt, right? Like you'd always be, but like, what if it wasn't? Like, what if I did actually see something? And I think the fact that they like, their job became obsolete after that means that they'll never get confirmation whether or not they did actually see something. Although it is true, the wanting to think that like part of the reason the job became obsolete was because of that is fun. I do really enjoy that.
In 4th grade, I went to a summer camp they held at my school. My mom forgot to pack me a Capri Sun, and I forgot to drink water that day.
It's fucking over. You're cooked.
So at lunchtime, I started feeling a little woozy. I went to a teacher to ask if I could go to the bathroom, and she started to leave me there. All of a sudden, I closed my eyes, and I just couldn't open them. I started panicking, and since I couldn't see, I bumped into another teacher, fell on the floor, and started crying hysterically because I thought I had gone blind. Turns out I was just dehydrated. They called my mom, I went home, and it was horrifying.
I don't even know how to draw this. Just like the feeling when no Capri Sun.
No Capri Sun.
It's like the haggard, dying SpongeBob image. Hold on, I have to like do the lips like chapped. I have drank 1 blind stew. Oh no, I'm sweating. Help.
Eraserhead baby.
Someone that got me the Eraserhead baby. I was thinking like the gray alien corpse. This is Gigu Mother 1. I don't go to Mother yet. He's dead, but he's still got those hips. Those are his pelvic bones. Scary story.
Okay, but as a kid, right? If I just suddenly was blind,
yeah,
I would also be scared, and it's really funny.
This is really fucking funny. I'm sorry that your fear of going blind. You would not fucking survive. You're dying. You're dying in this story.
You know, the fact that you dehydrated yourself till you went blind. Sorry. I started my job as an ecologist this year, and this happened on one of my first surveys. Myself and one colleague went looking for bats one night on a huge farm in the middle of nowhere. As we went into one of these huge fields, our head torches lit up a pair of eyes, then another and another, until there were about 50 pairs of eyes approaching us from every direction. There wasn't much time to react as we were completely surrounded by a herd of 50 cows. These cows were way too interested in us and were nibbling our clipboards and high-vis jackets. They kept us completely surrounded wherever we tried to walk. My colleague kept telling me that they were just friendly and was trying to walk in the middle of the field, whilst I was like, nah, I'm actually out of here. We ended up shuffling to the edge of the field while these cows surrounded us and were running to keep up with us and jumping towards us, but eventually we managed to jump over some barbed wire. It's pretty funny looking back on it, but at the time I did think I might get crushed to death, which isn't ideal. We talked to the farmer the next day who was sweating, telling us those young cows were prone to stampede people they didn't know.
So they were actually in danger. That's actually terrifying.
Cows are scary. Why do old people have tipping cow stories? Because cows kill people. Kill people more than sharks kill people.
Cows and hippos are pretty closely related, aren't they? And hippos love to kill people.
They just love to kill things.
Yeah, they just love to kill. If God made an animal that loved murder, it would be a hippo.
Are you gonna give them teeth like those fucking Roblox things that the guy was drawing to.
No, I'm just gonna make them look like normal cows. I think that that's funnier. Cows are like, what if a car had free will and fear? Actually, that is true, and they will kill you the same way that a car will. Hold
Okay,
on,
but you made him look really cute.
Yeah, I think cows are cute.
I think I would be a cow.
Yeah.
Would you love me if I was a cow?
I would. I would take care of you, and I would feed you the finest vegetables. I would chop up carrots for you. I would make stew.
Do they eat carrots?
I do think OP survives. Like, 5 out of 5, this person saw this shit and was like, we are getting the fuck out of here. They're given some points off for the fact that they were in a scary dark field in the middle of the night, but they had to be for their job. Well, okay, here's the other problem. Jaws, right? When there's 2 fishermen that are out on the boat. There's another scene, like in Jurassic Park, 2 workers out feeding the dinosaurs. Anytime there's 2 guys doing their job, either one or both of the guys is gonna die. But I think they would survive. This is pretty funny.
Yeah, looking back, this is pretty funny.
I would say this is like a solid 3 out of 5. The fact that it was cows makes it better. Although this is pretty scary. Like, I think if this well,
Give it at least a 3.
a 3 out of 5.
The initial thing of seeing 50 eyes staring back at you.
I think that would be freaky. I'm gonna bump it to a 4 because finding out that they stampeded people is actually kind of scary.
Yeah, that's also scary.
So you were actually in mortal danger in that moment.
About 10 a.m. one day, we had a guy come up to our door with a bunch of backpacks and a 2-liter in one hand and knocked. He tried to look through our windows and eventually left when no one answered the door. Parentheses. We have cameras that show us the porch, front of the house, and back of the house. About 10 hours later, the same guy came back to our house, but this time he had an axe in his hand and was very poorly trying to conceal it by hiding it behind his back. He knocks again and tries looking through the window of our door, and at this point my fiance had started going downstairs to check who was knocking. Got about halfway down, saw it was the same guy, parentheses, almost made eye contact too, and bolted back upstairs, at which point we checked the camera. This guy backs up to the sidewalk and tries to see if he can spot anything from me and my fiance's upstairs windows. The dude comes back to the door, knocks again, waits, but eventually does leave. We called the police and the cops never found him. I actually still have our camera footage of this on my phone, and it still scares me to think what could have happened if that guy had actually seen my fiance that night.
That's actually scary. Not even like...
Why did he have an axe?
Probably for like, I can't imagine why else you would have an axe and try to be getting into someone's house.
I mean, yeah.
That's freaky, actually.
That is really freaky.
That's a 5 out of 5. Also, both of you guys are surviving clearly, because that is an actual, like, horror scenario, and you played it out well. I'm not gonna rate this funny at all. That's not funny. That's actually quite frightening.
I will say 5 out of 5 for final girlness, because
yeah.
there was a choice of like, oh shit, I need to stay back upstairs, and then you watched on cameras.
You, like, actually observed the person, and then also got people involved.
When I was in school, I lived near some woods that I had walked around since I was a kid. One night, I had some friends over, and we thought it would be fun to take a late night walk. We brought flashlights, and we're already getting kind of scared by the environment, and one of my friends also started playing Silent Hill music on their phone.
Real.
Right as I was telling them to turn it off, my other friend flashed their light into a clearing and onto an abandoned baby stroller. That paired with the Silent Hill music scared us shitless, so we ran out of the woods in some random direction until we got back to my place. Coincidentally, the next day was my birthday party. Me and the 2 friends from the night before invited the rest of my guests to go to the woods and look for the aforementioned baby stroller. Perhaps to prove to ourselves it was just a normal object and not something to fear, we led the small group through the woods in broad daylight back to where we had seen the baby stroller, and it wasn't there.
Oh, that's even worse.
There was no sign it had been there, no debris or anything, but we knew it had been in that spot. It simply vanished, and I've thought about that every day since.
Yeah, no, that's actually scary. I think that finding something in the woods and then it being gone the very next... Because it's not even like you waited a while. Like, it's not like you waited a week or something to go back. Things can get moved in that amount of time, or, like, the weather can take it off. But clear night and then it being gone, yeah, that's actually pretty freaky. It was the next day. Yeah, that's crazy. That would freak me out a little bit. I guess, like, I spent a lot of, time in the woods as a kid, being from Appalachia, and we did a lot of weird shit in the woods. Like, we held a wedding ceremony using a deer skeleton and rib cage, me and like 2 other girls, and used the deer skeleton and rib cage as like the bridal veil. Weird things to do. And then we also like set up the bones around a tree, and there were other bones already there, and when I asked why are there animal bones here, the one girl who lived at the place we were at was like, oh, the bone guy does that. And I'm like, who's the bone guy? And she's like, we don't really know, we just see him sometimes in the woods, but he puts animal bones here. And we're like, all right. And like at the time, that didn't like register to me as something that I should be concerned by. I was just like, oh, it's just the bone guy. But now in hindsight, I'm like, what was going on? I mean, it might have just been a guy that like really liked doing creepy shit in the woods to scare people, because like same, I would also do that. But like, what do you mean just the bone guy? Gotta draw the flashlight spot. It makes it more eerie. Bone guy would be a really good occupation. What are the details of the job? What do you bring to the community as bone guy?
Bones.
Scary factor. I would say it's a 4 out of 5. Because, like, you know, baby stroller might not do anything, but the implication that the baby stroller moved means that there was someone else in the woods. And I think that that's the part that's kind of scary.
It's the somebody else being out there.
Yeah. It's a little silly. I will say that it's like,
kind of funny that it happened as Silent Hill music was being played.
yes, that's the part that makes me giggle a little bit. And also that it was a baby stroller. It feels like so like typical that it almost feels like, you know, of course there would be a scary baby stroller in the wood while scary music plays and then it would be gone the next day. But it did actually happen, like, for real. So I will say it's like 1 out of 5 scary. I do believe you would survive. It's very much, I'm gonna say like a 3 out of 5. It's very much a final girl activity to try and prove to the rest of the group that something really happened. To be like, no guys, I swear it was right here. And then the thing is gone. You're trying to inform others, like you're trying to keep others in the loop, but whatever creature or powers that be are at play do not want you to do that. Final girl coded activity. Like that is a thing that a final girl or a survivor character would experience.
My family friend, we will call him Joe, went to a hotel in London somewhere, and it was said to have a haunted room. Joe wasn't one to believe in the paranormal, but at night while he was trying to sleep, he felt someone staring at him. He opened his eyes and there was a man at the end of his bed with a musketeer's outfit. He had a sword, which he plunged into Joe's chest, and he said he could feel it go right through him. It was cold like a brain freeze through his entire body. He eventually covered himself with a blanket and closed his eyes and told this story to us when he came back. It was a really scary time for him, and he genuinely seemed mortified explaining the experience. Sometimes I want to go to the hotel myself and see if it's true, but I don't know.
Damn, Joe just experienced a straight guilt. He got murked by a ghost. I'm inclined to believe this because I have also had dreams of like ghost encounters before, like while sleeping in places that were haunted. And so I feel like that's like sleep specifically is the liminal barrier being lifted between the life and death. Like you are entering a state where you are less alive than you typically are. You are more susceptible to like otherworldly influence. So I'm inclined to believe if someone has a dream about something in a haunted place that it could very well have happened. It could be very real, especially since this person, Joe, experienced it after waking up. So it really is that liminal like time between wake and sleep. I went to senior week. The beach house was owned by one of the girls' families, I think. The two of them shared a room, whereas I was in a room all by myself. The mattress was like really scary. Like it was gray and yellow and it had like a big stain in the center of it. And I was kind of squicked out by it, but I just put like a sheet over it and hoped that that would be fine. I had a dream the first night that I slept in there that the room started filling with water, and I was like laying from my first person perspective, like I couldn't see myself, but I was laying in bed staring at the door, and I was watching the room fill with water from underneath the door, and then the door opened and this old man I've never seen before walked in and covered my mouth with his hand, and I felt like I was like choking, like I couldn't breathe, and he shushes me and he says, "You need to get out of here." And then I wake up and I was like, I am not sleeping for the rest of this vacation, because what the fuck was that? I later told my friend's mom about the dream that I had of the guy in the bedroom, and she looked like she was gonna cry. And I was like, why? What's wrong? And she's like, oh my God, that's like Uncle Ken. And I was like, who are you talking about? And she's like, our Uncle Ken died in that room. Ken had died of heart failure in that room. And then after that, the season after that, their house flooded because of, I think it was Hurricane Sandy that was that year. And the whole beach house had flooded, the room filling with water. It's kind of like a bunch of weird connections, but they actually ended up having to sell the house because they couldn't do the repairs.
I would have sold that house.
Yeah. What do we think of the Joe story, though? I would say it's like a 2 out of 5 scary. I don't know how scared I am
Of it being a retelling of a retelling.
Yeah, and it's also a dream. Like, it is still scary. Dreams can be scary, but I don't think Joe was ever in actual danger. I wouldn't sleep there again, but I don't know if I would be, like, afraid for safety. I don't think it's all funny, though. Would Joe survive? Joe feels like a protagonist of, you know, the scary stories to tell in the dark?
Yeah.
Joe feels like a protagonist of the scariest stories to tell in the dark stories. He might not die, but he would definitely have something freaked up happen to him, and then, like, that would be the story.
He would kind of fucked up for life.
2 out of 5. It's not final girlism, but it is like surviving the story. Joe would survive. I do think as long as the number is not 1 or 0, Joe, like the person survives. 2 is like they survive, but like maybe it wasn't that severe to begin with. 3 is like they survived, but it could be like it's either actually a dangerous situation, but like they got out messy, or like it wasn't as dangerous, but like in a horror scenario they would survive. 4 or 5 is like they're final girling it up. Like they're prepped, they're ready.
Me and my sister wanted to stay up to see Santa on Christmas, so our family decided to let us stay up until 7 p.m.-ish.
Aww.
We were all hanging out in the living room, except for my little brother who was sleeping upstairs. But I was getting hungry, so I asked my parents if I could go get some Cheerios. They said yes, but told me not to eat too much since it was late. And after I got my Cheerios, I was heading back to the living room and I heard something very loudly run up the stairs. I assumed that somebody else had gone upstairs, only to find out that my whole family was still in the living room, and then to be told, try to be a little quieter when you run up the stairs next time your brother's sleeping. I burst into tears after that.
Oh no, that's actually scary. Maybe the brother was actually awake.
Maybe the brother was awake.
I'm good. Like, that's the only thing that I can think, but otherwise that's pretty scary. I don't know, like, I guess I could draw like kid looking up the stairs. Hard to draw a story that's based off sound, but I will do it. I would say this is a 4 out of 5, especially when you're a little kid and something scary happens. Like, it is probably
The brother.
The brother
was probably like seeing you coming out of the kitchen and then being like, oh shit,
and didn't want to like get in trouble.
Yeah.
The funniness is like 2 out of 5. I like the idea of just like a ghost appearing just to scamper up your stairs. But survivability, you did immediately start crying. Like, you did immediately tell adults. So, like, 2 out of 5? I don't know how much danger you would have been in your house with your parents. It's still scary, but I think you would have been safe, but you did immediately tell someone, so it's not like you kept it to yourself, which could have been dangerous.
When I was 14, I was staying at my dad's house, and I was home alone in the living room using the Xbox. There were stairs that went up to the left, and the second floor had an inside balcony that overlooked the living room, so like a loft.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, I saw something in my peripheral vision and looked to the side to see a woman wearing what was either a big white shirt or a white nightgown, standing at the top of the stairs looking down at me. It was actually terrifying because I thought someone broke in or something, but then I blinked and she disappeared. And even weirder, my dad saw the same lady a few months later in the same spot. That house was really haunted, but that was the only time we actually saw anything. Usually it was just weird sounds and footsteps in the night, things going missing or randomly being moved with no one home, to the point where we thought we had a squatter, and made my dad search the whole house, but there was never anyone there.
I think it'd be scarier if it was a squatter.
Ghosts are scary, but more scary is a person being somewhere they aren't supposed to be. Yeah.
Yeah, so spookiness level.
Pretty spooky because the dad saw the same thing.
Yeah, it's anytime 2 people see the same thing, that's when it gets scary to me. Because one person, you can be having an off day, you can catch something out of the corner of your eye. 2 people unprompted having the same thing happen is where it's like, oh, something's going on. Especially if you mention it and they go, oh, I also saw that. So I'd say that's a solid 4 out of 5. Like, I am not usually scared of ghosts, but I think there's something different about living somewhere where, like, that is haunted. Like, going somewhere haunted to see it, it's just like, okay, the scary,
like you get separated from it.
Yeah.
One night during the week at the end of the day, I was sat in front of the TV watching the local news alone. I don't know where my family was at the time, but it's pivotal to the story that my family absolutely loved to torment me with all things scary. Anyways, once the broadcast had run out of actual news stories, they pivoted to covering a story about something called the Morgan City Monster, and on screen flashed the infamous picture of the rake.
Oh.
Yes, that one captured on trail cam. They also included an interview with the guy who supposedly captured the beast on camera, only finding the remnants of the memory card remaining. After this, the rake became an extremely real and prominent creature in my mind because it was on the local news.
That is actually... I would have been scared shitless if I saw that shit on my local news channel. I would have cried.
Did people actually think this was real? Like, Chimera excluded because...
Someone you know thought this was real. I think it's funnier that I didn't even have to say who. Honestly, had this happened as a kid, I would have been scared. I would give this a 4 out of 5, but I don't know if you agree.
No, I'd agree to that.
Funny? Yes. That shit's hilarious. Sorry. Those newscasters were fucking with you. I wouldn't have been scared if this was the monster. He's just a little shy with it. The Rake, but it's like a rom-com, like, dating anime where you guys, like, bump into each other late at night on a trail and, like, oh my god, MC, I can't believe you found me here. Really good picture. Really really, really good image.
I had this dolphin pillow pet as a kid. It was probably filled with mold because it's the only way I can explain anything that happened. Whenever I slept with it, I would have these dreams about getting caught up in a car crash or being stuck alone in a moving car not being able to drive. I still have this pillow pet, and about a year ago, I tried sleeping with it again to see what would happen. No car crash dream, but I did wake up with scratches on my arms. I could not have accidentally scratched myself, and that was the only day I ever woke up with scratches like that.
Evil dolphin pillow
Evil
pet?
dolphin pillow pet.
What is it with the dolphins? I literally know people, and all the people I know that had dolphin pillow pets, they all had like the Resident Evil mold spore aura.
I thought you meant the store.
Why is that so scary? The glowing eyes. Hold on. What I'll do is like I'll fill it in and then I'll make the dolphin pillow pet like really dark so you can see its evil aura. Okay, sorry, pause. Because here's the thing, right? If you knew your pillow had mold in it, why did you not handle the mold? First and foremost, why did you not wash it? Second of all, why did you sleep with it again after realizing it had mold in it? The mold gives it personality and dark energy. It's me and my black mold against the world. It's not like that scary because I wouldn't personally sleep with a moldy artifact. It's a little funny. I am going to kiki at you a little bit because why did you sleep?
Why did you sleep with it
Why
again?
did you sleep with it again? Survivability? 0. You're sleeping with the mold animal.